Welcome to A Game of Two Hearts with me, Sam, and him, Rick. We're here again with all the news, reviews and previews of the Premier League action this week.
View the weekend that saw City play Insani football, Jose's top four ambitions take a blow, and also Warnock's men go mental at a throw-in, but they couldn't do any more in Neil's eyes. Sam, hello, you well?
I'm okay, suffering a bit of a cold, so we'll see how it goes.
Good start to the pod. Right, there's only one place to start for the weekend's action. It is I suppose it's a London derby in its own right, Spurs and Chelsea.
Yeah, Tottenham at Wembley still, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Would have been a good game to have at their new stadium, but they ran out victorious, 3-1 winners, and it was very convincing.
It was. Jonathan Pearce made that point a little bit tongue-in-cheek in the Match of the Day commentary, actually. This has been a great game to have had at Tottenham's new stadium at White Hart Lane. Yeah, Chelsea's unbeaten run ended. They never really got going in this game, did they?
No, they didn't know where to start. They were poor defensively. Tottenham seemed to man-mark Jorginho out the game. Kante is playing in this weird role out on the right now.
Yeah, I don't like that role at all. I don't know what... I mean, Sarri's done a lot of good things at Chelsea, and they're playing good football already, and his mark's coming through, but you've got that key part of that midfield that's won Leicester a league and then Chelsea a league. Yeah. Why on earth would you mess with everything else in that team? Yep. Fine, but you've got to keep Kante in that central position. Especially
someone that you've now just made your highest paid player and given him a 5-year contract. Is that just to keep him happy because he's not playing in the position he wants? It's difficult.
It is, and Chelsea just looks so much more weak in the middle, so much more soft and easily got. I mean, Tottenham overran them, and they went hard in the midfield. Sissoko, a little bit surprising that he started.
Yep.
But that physicality in the midfield, they managed to overrun Jorginho, who I thought had his poorest game with Chelsea's shirt.
Yeah, I think there might be questions over whether he starts the next match. I could quite easily see Kante dropping back in and Barkley coming in and having more freedom going forward. But I think Chelsea's, along with Jorginho, Chelsea's poorest performer was David Luiz. I think he had a shocker as centre-back. He made 3-4 mistakes.
Wow.
And a couple for 2 goals.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 of his mistakes led to goals. There is the turning the back on Harry Kane, which you see in Sunday League football, and your manager always screams at you when you play in the back of that league. Don't turn your back, don't turn your back.
You're a defender, you're meant to put your body on the line to stop a goal at any cost.
Good finish by Kane. We'll come on to Tottenham in a minute. We'll finish on the David Luiz first. And then, I mean, the tackle, or attempt of tackle on Son.
What, the dangly leg?
Well, it was like a FIFA tackle, wasn't it? You completely mistimed your standing tackle. Yeah, FIFA tackle. You completely mistimed it, and Son made him look very, very silly. Good run by Son. It wasn't as good as I thought. I mean, I didn't see the game live. I caught up the highlights and watched as much as I could. The way it was described was it was an amazing goal, and Son had just scored a Messi-esque. He ran. Nobody tackled him.
Yeah,
it
was a ball down the outside from Ali.
Yeah,
and he's gone past Alonso and he's cut inside Luiz, and once he's in the box no one can make a touch on him, otherwise he's going to go down and going to get a penalty.
It's a good goal, but I don't think it was a stunning goal. Chelsea's best player for me, probably Kepa. I thought he was a little bit at fault for the first goal. I thought the ball went through him, albeit at quite high speed and close proximity from Dele Alli. Good header from him. Yeah,
it's always difficult in those situations because you never know how much the attacker's going to get on it. If he gets a big touch on it, then you're going to look stupid diving across the back of him.
Yeah. But I thought other than that, Kepa did a really good job, made some excellent saves to keep the score semi-respectable. He's settling well for me at Chelsea. It's going to be question marks asked when you're the most expensive goalkeeper in the world, especially as you took that claim from Alisson after only a couple of days of him having it. It was a bold move by Chelsea, but I think he's going to pay off for them over the course of the season. He looks like a good keeper.
Yeah, I certainly think he's the up-and-coming Spanish keeper, and in a couple of years' time, 4 maybe 5, he'll be taking David Gea's place as Spain #1.
Yeah, for sure. Just before we move on to Tottenham, I did think Hazard should have had a penalty at 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, Foyth again.
Clumsy.
It was clumsy, yeah. He's got the wrong side of Hazard. The ref has had a perfect view of it. I don't quite understand how it hasn't been given.
No, nor do I, because Hazard's not a diving player as such. There's some dives I'll come on to as we run through the reviews. He's not a diving player as such. He's not got a reputation as a diving player. He tends to only go down with his contact.
Yep.
I'm not saying he never exaggerates a fall or has never dived, but he's one of those that he'll get kicked and he'll try and stay on his feet. He tries to stay on his feet. So I'm slightly surprised that he didn't get the penalty there. It was fairly clear cut for me.
One thing I did like about Sarri after the match, he was very honest and upfront about how badly Chelsea played, and he said he didn't like any of his players' performances.
No, absolutely. Moving on to Tottenham then, it's a big win for them, and Pochettino's doing fantastic. They're now 5 points behind City, 3 behind Liverpool. They're a squad that has been questioned, particularly of their Champions League exploits this season and the transfer policy over the summer and the stadium problems. But are they on the coattails of the top two? Can they mount a challenge?
It's difficult. Obviously, they haven't actually drawn a game this season. They've lost 3.
Yeah.
And I think those losses have showed where their downfalls are, and I think that's why they're going to struggle to challenge the top 2.
But I said they have just beaten Chelsea convincingly as well.
They have, yes.
And the Tottenham fan would argue potentially unlucky against Liverpool, could have had a penalty in the last minute going back to the 2-1 loss to Liverpool at Wembley.
I think it could be very much dependent on whether they can keep those front 4, because those front 4 of Son, Ali, Eriksen and Kane seem to be working really well. Yes, you've got Lamella that can come in, yes, you've got Moura that can come in, but they don't seem to be quite as clinical as those 4.
Eriksen, for me, is a fantastic... It's almost like a new signing, to coin a phrase from Arsene Wenger, which I'm sure will go down with the Spurs fans. But to have him back in the team, it is almost like a new signing, isn't it? They've missed him in the start of the season.
Yeah, certainly. I think he went off to the World Cup, didn't he? And I don't think the Tottenham players came back refreshed enough. No. There were a lot of players that went deep into the tournament that play for Tottenham, and I think it's taken them a bit of time to recover.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Just a last point on Chelsea, or 2 points on Chelsea. Giroud, much maligned. His goal scoring record is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, he's that big striker that you want up front. He just whipped the ball in, and he's going to try and get his head on it.
Should he be starting ahead of Morata? I think yes. I think he's a better ball player with the ball at his feet. I think he's a more intelligent footballer.
Yeah, he's better at the hold-up play. As you say, he's more intelligent. He gets into those spaces that he knows he needs to be in, whereas Morata seems almost crowded out by those players coming inside.
The Spanish Andy Carroll. Finally on Chelsea, David Luiz, surely he will be losing his position. They've got Christensen. Surely he's got to come back in now.
I think ever since that 7-1 loss to Germany in the World Cup, he's not been the same player.
He's not.
And I don't know why he came back to Chelsea for 50 million. And I think they will be looking for a centre-back in January.
Well, they've got Christensen. I mean, he played well last season when he was brought in. He made a couple of mistakes when he first came into the team, but I thought he settled really well.
Yeah.
I thought Chelsea were very solid at the end of last season, and I thought Christensen was a big part of that.
Yeah, it would be actually nice to see Chelsea use their loan system and actually bring players back in to use in their first team.
Absolutely. Okay, so away from the top of the table, we'll move to the other end, at the bottom of the table. Fulham 3, Southampton 2. A quite bizarre game. A good first win for Ranieri, but the question comes to mind, where does Hughes go from here? In a literal sense, and indeed where the team goes from here.
Well, he's won 3 of his 21 matches as Southampton boss, and that's nowhere near good enough for the Premier League. And I think he is in real trouble. I think maybe 2 more matches and he could be gone.
If that, I mean, Fulham have just pulled the trigger themselves, bought in Ranieri. I think he's going to be good for that club. I think he's a good fit for that club. If you're Southampton, you must be looking at this and just wondering, your transfer policy's been a little bit strange. His selection policy raises eyebrows every week. And you say he doesn't win games. He's not even close to winning games.
No, I thought they've been struggling to score goals, and they did that in this match. Got 2. Armstrong looked really quite bright.
Yeah.
Someone that I haven't really seen before.
Bullet for the second. Absolute bullet.
Oh, yeah, fantastic second goal. But I agree. I think there's selection problems. There's no consistency either.
No, and for me, Fulham's third goal summed up Southampton under Mark Hughes. What is Hoop doing? You've got the ball in the corner. Yeah. It's 2-2. You need to get points on the board. You're against a relegation rival.
You're a central defender who fit out of play.
Yeah, get it into Rosette. It's not even like he's trying to pass out from the back and he's got that wrong. I don't know what he's doing. It's not the last minute of the game.
No.
You're not down the other end of the pitch holding on for a result. Just clear your lines, man. Don't get caught there. And lose the possession, and Mitrovic scores his second of the game. And he seems to be back on form. That's his first goal since August, I believe.
I think it's been 10 hours since his last Premier League goal. I think if he gets into some kind of form, then Fulham could really push on. I think the way that Ranieri likes to play, we saw it at Leicester. It's that counter-attacking, quick movement from one end of the pitch to the other.
They've got the players to do that.
Yeah, with Schürrle, with Sessegnon, Mitrovic holds up the ball wonderfully.
Seri in midfield passes well.
Same with Kearney. I think they've got the basis for a good team, but they may need to shore up at the back.
They will, but one of the things Ranieri, he's been much sort of quoted as the Tinker Man. Obviously, when he won the league at Leicester, he didn't do the tinkering, and perhaps the downfall of Fulham thus far has been the tinkering, particularly at the back.
Yes.
I think that Ranieri is going to pick a back four now and going to stick with it, obviously, as far as possible. I think that will be key. If they can get the front can look after themselves. Their first goal proved that. It was a beautiful flowing attack by Fulham. Really nice 1 and 2 touch passing, good movement, good running off the ball, excellent finish by Mitrovic. His both goals were actually good finishes.
Yes, they were.
He looked like a player who's got his mojo back. And I think if Ranieri can get the back four solid, they've got a decent keeper, they've got a Premier League keeper there, let's not make anything of it, he's a Premier League quality keeper. If you get the back four sorted, you can see Fulham, as you say, putting a run together now and pushing up the table. You can't say the same of Southampton at the moment.
No, I was very impressed with Rico in goal for Fulham. I think at the start of the season they weren't quite sure who their best keeper was. They brought in 2 in the summer, which I thought was strange business. But it looks like Rico's really staked his claim to the number 1 jersey.
Both sides looking poor at the back, but one player that did catch the eye, who is technically a defender, Sessegnon, showing why he is one of the hot properties of the Premier League this week, I thought.
He's just going to get better and better.
Yes.
And I can't wait to see what he does in the Fulham shirt. I don't think it'll be too long till he moves on to another club, unfortunately. And then when does his England call-up come?
Well, this is the only problem for Sessegnon in the England call-up side of things is that the full-backs is something that England, for once, have got an abundance of talent at the moment.
Full-back and wingers.
Yeah, he can, of course, play through the midfield. Under Southgate, of course, we don't tend to play with wingers as we used to. We've got the 4-4-2 wing player that England used to play with Beckham, Gerrard or Scholes, with a random player who's been shifted out on the other side. But yeah, Sessegnon, he's going to be a good player. I think he'll stay at Fulham the rest of this season, possibly even next. I think he's, from what I understand, a very switched-on, clued-in young man who knows what's going to be best for him in his football. But both sides have work to do here. Both sides look poor at the back. For Southampton, I think they have to get rid of Hughes if they're going to try and stay in this league.
One thing on the first Southampton goal, I don't know if you saw it, but as Armstrong was coming in to hit it, did you see Austin's block on Sessegnon?
I did, yeah. I mean,
no, I haven't seen any other commentator or analyst bring it up. But is that within the laws of the game?
Charlie Austin makes the laws. I think it's one of those difficult ones, isn't it? I think Austin's argument will be that every time a ball goes to the box, Sessegnon or similar are doing the same to him, blocking his runs, and he gets nothing for it. So, and we see it all the time, don't we? That the defender does what we call standing their ground. Forward runs into the back of him, gets nothing of it, and we always say, well, he's just standing his ground. So I think Austin's done something similar the other way around. I'm not too concerned about it, to be honest. Okay, so we're going to switch back towards the top of the table in this topsy-turvy league, and we're going to look at West Ham 0, Manchester City 4. Insane football at times.
It was another joy to watch, wasn't it?
I mean, what do you say about City now? We've ran out of things to say. Absolutely rampant again. I must admit, going into this, I said to you, I thought West Ham were going to get something from this game, albeit a draw, even nick a win.
Well, they had the opportunities.
Yes, they did.
And I think in this game it was just a question of the quality. It was that difference between top team in the league and someone that's mid-table.
Yes.
But City have had rampant times against West Ham recently. The last 5 games they played against them, they've scored 22 goals.
It's scary, isn't it? What shocked me even more was that City seem to walk this at times. Sane's third goal, I mean, Sane's second goal, the fourth goal for City, he just slows down time. The way he brings it down, sends Fabianski to the floor, it's phenomenal. They're obviously a team high on confidence, obviously, and the way they're all clicking at the minute. Sterling is unfortunately looking better and better each week. He's starting to get that consistency now. Sane, I don't know what went wrong with him with Germany. I don't know what went wrong with him at the start of the season. He's obviously had some sort of falling out or issue somewhere along the line, but he seems to have got himself sorted now, and is back in that Manchester City team. And David Silva, best Spaniard in the Premier League era. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you can really see now in this second season that Guardiola coaches his players directly.
Yes.
You can see how Sterling's come on. You can see how Sane's come on with those runs that they're making into the box, and just the way that they're almost playing FIFA football. You get to the byline and you cut it back. You're not going to be offside, and you've got a tap in.
It's a bit early to talk about United, but of course, across the city, there is the argument that that's not what Mourinho does in contrast. That Guardiola's making his players better. We'll come to United to say, but Jose's making his players worse.
Yeah.
I think that is really, really obvious to see at the moment. I don't want to cut City short. I'm not doing enough justice, but I say, what do you say about them? I do think they look a bit weak at the back. I do think they can be got at. However, on the flip side, I do think that they'll just simply outscore anyone. So if you score 2, City will score 5. So I don't.
Yeah, there were a couple of good saves that Edison made that I've made note of, and also Antonio had the chance that was off the outside of the post.
Yeah.
And I think it's that counter attack where they've pushed their wing backs up and they can get round the side.
Okay, Matthew Etherington on 5 Live and absolutely mental about Antonio missing that, as if it would have changed the game. Since we were 3 up at the time.
3 up, yeah.
I mean, it was a good chance, but would it really have mattered if he'd scored? He'd probably prodded City into life, and they've got 6. So, as I say, I think they can be got at by the teams that will attack them. But I just don't see them not scoring to make it a problem. I think in the Champions League it might be a different story when they start kind of against Juventus who won't concede, or Bayern Munich's not a good example at the moment. But these teams that are defensively sound.
Yeah.
But in the Premier League, I think they'll outscore anybody. I really do.
A bit on West Ham.
Sure.
I don't think. Yes, they lost 4-0, but they weren't 4-0 worse than Man City.
No, they weren't. They gave it a go. It was good to see a team actually try and take it to City, but unfortunately West Ham just didn't really knit it all together.
No.
Arnautovic potentially injured again. Problematic for them. He is by far their best player. Felipe Anderson possibly up there as well.
They're both crucial to how well they're going to do this season.
They are, and keeping them both fit is absolutely key. Moving on to the last game of the weekend, which was on the Sunday afternoon. Wolves 0, Huddersfield 2. Moy with 2 goals for Huddersfield. Surprising result, actually. Completely out of the blue for me.
Yeah, I looked at this game and I thought, Wolves at home, solid team.
Yep.
Going to rely on their home performances to push them up the league. But Huddersfield came and set up almost perfectly to play against the Wolves side.
They did.
And as you say, Moy took his chances well.
He did. 2 of the goals.
And I think Huddersfield's defensive performance really showed that they may have clicked now. Kongolo had a really good game, I thought.
I was going to say, are Wolves getting dragged into this, and are Huddersfield getting out of this? I mean, Wolves are slipping down the table. They're in 11th at the moment. Okay, they're still a fair way off the relegation places. But Huddersfield are up to 14th. Obviously, we've got Newcastle and Burnley playing tonight. Delayed kick-off there till 8:30. It's difficult, isn't it? Because a couple of bad results, which Wolves have had, has dragged them back down the table slightly. And it's so tight down the bottom that one win for any of the teams down there can completely change the complexion of it all.
Yeah, I mean, before that game, Huddersfield were rock bottom, and they've shot up to 14th.
Yeah.
And there's 2 points covering 7 teams. I think it's going to be very tight at the end of the season.
It is. Wolves, for me, need to address the rot now. They need to get themselves back into winning ways.
Yeah, certainly at home. That's their 3rd defeat in a row. I know they played Tottenham last time out, but you need to rely on your home form as a newly promoted team.
I mean, equally, just to balance out, you say Huddersfield set up really well and played really well. It could have just been an off day for Wolves. Neves' free kick in the last minute absolutely epitomised that. Normally so deadly from edge of the box, ends up putting it out the stadium almost.
Yeah.
One thing that did strike me in this game: goal line technology. Proving why it is so important that we have this in the Premier League.
Yeah,
and
it was a fantastic clearance.
It was, and you say millimetres away
Stretched
for Wolves.
every sinew. Yeah, I got it here. 1.8 centimetres from going fully over the line, and you wouldn't have been able to call that as a linesman.
No.
It's far too close. It's far too quick.
I don't think the referee could be expected to call that even. This just goes to show how important technology in the modern game is. And the other thing as well, no protests. Because they all knew, the Wolves players, that if it doesn't beep on his watch, it's not going over the line. There's no 10-minute arguments surrounding the referees, goalkeepers rushing out as if they've seen a better view than the referee or linesman have. You know, the left backs jogging up, go, oh yeah, definitely crossed the line, I can see it from where I was. I think that this has been a really, really positive thing for the Premier League. I hope we go the same way with VAR, I really do.
Well, yeah, it's been confirmed a couple of weeks ago now that it will be introduced next season, and I think as long as they can smooth out the issues with it, then it should work. Not quite flawlessly, but much better than what we've got now.
Final word on this game. Wagner, potential managerial hot property at the moment, could potentially be lured away in January, do we feel? Or do you think he'll be there to the end of the season? Because from his point of view, his stock will only be so high for so long.
Yes, but I think the job that he's done in bringing Huddersfield up and then keeping them up last season, I think he sees it as a project.
But if Southampton sack Hughes,
I wouldn't want to go to Southampton. I'd much rather stay at Huddersfield than go to Southampton.
Okay.
Because I think they've got a solid core there. They know what they want to do. They know their style of play. And there's no issues in the backroom staff like there is at Southampton at the moment.
If Watford go for their cycle, we're going to come on to Watford and Liverpool in a sec, and sack their manager, do you tempt to Watford?
Watford's a possibility, because I think they've got a little more investment, and they've proved themselves that they can stay in the league.
I suppose the point is that if Wagner now goes down with Huddersfield this season, which is a possibility, his stock tumbles. Rightly or wrongly, it tumbles. He's the man that couldn't keep Huddersfield in the Premier League.
I don't think it stumbles too much because of keeping them up in that first season. They were such underdogs.
They were
to stay up.
That's fair.
And I think he's proved himself in that fact, and say they do get relegated and then someone is in a relegation battle the season after, then he could quite easily be bought in.
Yeah, that's true. We mentioned Watford. Regulation win for Liverpool at Vicarage Road by 3-0. It's important for Liverpool to keep the pace of City and try and give the illusion of a title race. Again, we keep saying that the winning games we're not playing well and there's more to come. We're over a third of the way through the season now. When is it going to come?
Well, I thought you were quite disappointing in the first half. Obviously 0-0 at half time. I think Foster made some excellent saves.
As did Alisson, actually, a 0-0 from Pereira outside of the boot, Quaresma style beauty. And for me, Alisson is proving why he's worth the investment.
And you were very lucky in the first half not to concede a penalty.
Robbo.
Yeah. I think that goes either way, depending how much contact there is. The views that I've seen weren't particularly clear. You can't expect to stick your leg out in a Premier League match and get away with it every time.
I was a bit lucky, but I absolutely adore Robbo, so I'm not gonna make him suffer for that. As I say, Alisson did very well. Foster did very well. The front three are starting to click a little bit for Liverpool now. Salah on the score sheet for me. I looked a bit sharper this week. He's been off the pace for some while now.
Salah loves a game against Watford, doesn't he?
He absolutely does. And he's apparently a one-season wonder. He's now got more goals than Hazard this season, who's in the form of his life. I think Salah's slowly starting to, click into gear now. And actually, this time last year, it was about this time last year that he started to click in and really start to go on and on and on.
Do you think he was hampered at the start of the season with that shoulder injury?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, he went to the World Cup unfit, knowing that Egypt were never going to get there again.
Yep.
He played for that because he knew it was his only chance. He was rushed back for Egypt, rushed back for Liverpool. I think he started the season too early. I don't think he did a proper rest. But I also think he's the sort of player that wants to improve all the time, and he knows that he's got that millstone around his neck to a point of what he achieved last year. I think he's been a bit more selfish because of it this year. I don't think the front three are quite as lucid and quite as playing for each other as they have been in the past. The other thing from this game for me, before we quickly touch on Watford, a tale of two Englishmen. Trent Alexander-Arnold, fantastic free kick.
Let me guess the other one. Is it Henderson?
It is, but we'll start with Henderson actually, because I want to come round from the bad to the good. Yes. Henderson's showing to me why he will never make it and why he has never made it. and why he will essentially never be good enough for Liverpool. 2 silly yellow cards. I accept the first one.
The first one, he was frustrated that
but
he didn't get anything.
But you can't be. You're the captain of Liverpool. You
know.
Can't get frustrated.
You need to
like
lead
that.
by example.
Yeah, you don't see other players in the team doing that kind of thing. Milner doesn't make that kind of foul.
No.
Van Dijk doesn't make that kind of foul. They're the other 2 captains in the team.
Yep.
They don't make those kind of errors. Henderson's a hot head. He always has been. He goes around shouting a lot without actually getting much done. For me, look, I sympathise with him a little bit that he had to follow Steven Gerrard as the captain. That was never going to be easy. But for me, he doesn't make assists. He doesn't break up play. He doesn't score goals. I don't know what he does.
He's loud.
Yeah,
He's just very loud.
That's it, but I don't care. Van Dijk's loud, but follows it up. Milner's loud, but follows it up.
I think that's the reason that he hasn't got into many of your starting lineups this season.
Yeah.
He's gradually getting phased out.
Well, I think Klopp is trying to phase him out. I think Klopp's found his captain in Van Dijk, and I think next season Henderson. Well, as I said here, I think Henderson's days are numbered at Liverpool. I don't wish it on any player, but I just don't think he's good enough for Liverpool football.
I'm not sure his days are numbered as such, but I think he will become a squad player.
I just don't think he's good enough for Liverpool Football Club. I really don't. But to bring it round to a positive from an English chap, Trent Alexander-Arnold, 20 years old. What a couple of years, or a season, I suppose, season and a half he's having.
Beckham-esque, that free kick.
It wasn't it? It really, really was.
It was like almost spitting image with those diagonal arms.
The armpit sort of slightly raised.
Yeah.
It was. But it's not just that, is it? I mean, the fact that he, in a squad that contains Salah, Firmino, Robbo's not bowed on a dead ball, you've got Milner and he's on, he had the cojones to take the ball off everybody else, go, no, this is mine. And it's to get it up and down and into the top corner. Foster has absolutely no chance.
No. Stood watching that one.
It's a wonderful free kick from Trent, and his future is very, very, very bright.
Yes, I can't wait to see how he develops. Although he is a Liverpool player, he is also English, which means I can be slightly less biased.
Half the back four might be Liverpool soon. What with Gomez? I know he didn't play in this game, but another good talent there. Watford falling away a bit now from title contenders at the start of the season.
Yes, they did have a very good start to the season, but I think they're showing more of the form that we would have expected of them.
Yeah.
I think, they'll be safe. Yes, they'll be mid-table. It'll be good for them to push into the top half.
Yeah, I think they can still challenge for a Europa League spot. They're there or thereabouts. They need to get back to winning ways. Sharpish need to start scoring goals again. Sharpish, but I think Watford are not going to go down, as you say. They may cause a problem for the top 7, I suppose. But they're away at Leicester next weekend. We'll come on to that a bit later on. But they need to get back to winning ways.
Yes. Right.
So Bournemouth on the south coast. Bournemouth 1, Arsenal 2. An absolutely hilarious own goal by Lerma. What a hit, son! What a hit!
It was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
I'd be pleased if I scored a volley like that, even if it was in my own goal.
I mean, Lerma had such a brilliant game, didn't he? An own goal, gave away the free kick for the second, and then hit the post in sort of the dying minutes. I mean, quite the afternoon for him, who I think has actually been quite a good addition to Bournemouth. This game aside.
I think he showed that at the World Cup. He was a top quality performer, and I think the price that they got him in for was about due, and he's done well for him.
He has. Bournemouth again, they competed, but like they did against Manchester United, they're just not quite good enough to beat the big teams. I say it's cautious because I know we've got them coming up in a couple of weeks, but they're just not quite. They're not quite there, are they? Not quite got the grit, not quite got the perhaps game know-how to beat the biggest teams in the league. Yeah,
I think with that they're suffering for not having an experienced player from who's played in those games. A lot of their players are on the younger side of 20. And more energetic, yes, great energies to the game, but the experience of being able to know when to attack and know when to sort of like close the game down is going to be crucial when they come up against a big team.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Arsenal, they did enough, but you can sense a defeat coming. It could have and probably should have been a draw this game, in all fairness.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth certainly deserved more. Although Lerma had an up and down game, Brooks had a good game, had a goal ruled out for offside, but was it?
I mean, when I was growing up, the tight ones like that, you gave the benefit of the doubt to the attacking player, and it
Yeah.
seems to have been a shift now that you give the benefit of the doubt to the defending player. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I don't know. For me, it just signifies the need for VAR.
Yeah, certainly.
But I think that if the ref isn't sure, he cannot give it. I think it's the same with a penalty. If you're not 100% sure the man's onside, I think you've got to flag it.
I think it was a bit clearer than maybe suggesting, because I'm not sure whether the linesman has seen that. I think it was Mustafi was actually on the floor.
Yeah, but then you get into the whole difficulty of, is a hand offside, onside?
Yes.
Because, they've made it far too complicated with bits of the body that can score and the phases and what have you. I think that you have to, in situations of doubt, go with that doubt and not give the goal. Rightly or wrongly, I think that is probably the way to go. Another player's had a good game, Leno. Another good game from him.
Yeah, I think he's being called on far too much for an Arsenal team. If you think back to the Leymans, the Seamans, yes, they were there when you really needed them, but they weren't there 5, 6, 7 times a game.
Yeah, but Arsenal haven't got that commanding centre back, have they? You think for when we grew up, you had Adams, Keown, Kolo Touré, Campbell, even Koscielny.
They're really missing him.
Yeah, you've now got Mustafi, who for me isn't good enough. He's not a Premier League. He's not one of the top centre backs in the Premier League. Put it that way. He's behind a lot of players, and they've got a young chap in Holding alongside.
And Socrates.
Socrates is too slow for the Premier League.
Yep.
I think, and so is Lichtsteiner. I think that those two players have had their time. They've had their time.
Showing
in the sun.
their age.
They are. They're not fast enough for the Premier League. I think Holding will be a good player. I don't want to, kick him too much because he is young. He's English. And I want him to do well. I think actually he did do quite well this game. I think Mustafi is the weak link because he's a bit irrational. Could have given away a penalty in the game as well.
Yeah.
Has given away penalties all season.
Yeah.
He's just a bit irrational. I'm interested to see that Kolasinac is back in the team.
Yeah, they were suffering for a left back for a couple of games, weren't they? With both Kolasinac and Monreal injured. And I think it's good to see him back in. Got the assist for the Aubameyang
goal. I was
goal.
going to say, I think he offers a lot going forward, Kolasinac. Perhaps not so much at the back. But then the full-back's job doesn't seem primarily anymore to be to defend. It seems to be able to attack, to get assists, to get balls into the box.
And make sure you're quick enough to get back.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bellerin does that very well on the other side as well. No winning free for Bournemouth. I don't want to say it's a rot, but they need to get back to winning ways sort of as quickly as possible here, just to address the slide. I mean, it is fair to say in that they've had Manchester United and Arsenal.
Yeah, they have had difficult fixtures, but are they on the same kilter as Watford? They've lost a couple, yes, but I think they're going to be fairly secure.
They're going to be secure, but I want them.
You want them to kick on?
I want them to challenge. I really want them to finish above Man United. Just to send a message really to the United board that they've gone for Mourinho. Go for these younger up-and-coming managers, and that's not just Man United, actually, it's all of the teams, the big teams. You don't necessarily have to go for the name. There is talent in this Premier League. Tottenham were the exception to that, 'cause they did give an up-and-coming coach the chance in Pochettino, so before the Spurs fans writed in their numbers.
Pochettino proved himself at Southampton.
Yeah, he had, and Tottenham took a chance on him in many ways, and it's paying absolute dividends.
It's weird to think that 10 years ago Bournemouth were bottom of all 4 leagues on minus points.
Going out of business,
and now they're a secure Premier League side.
And another brilliant goal by King, by the way. A lovely move by Bournemouth.
It was a lovely finish, and again Brooks with the assist.
Yep.
He's looking fantastic for them.
Shame he is Welsh and not English. And Aubameyang, another goal for him. He is having a quietly good season now, isn't he?
I think Lacazette had a slight muscle injury, and he's come in to that central role and stepped up as you would expect. He's got scoring prowess wherever he's been.
He has. Okay, your lot versus Cardiff. A Sigurdsson goal of difference.
Your lot?
Well, it's just a bit of a cut and dry game in many ways, but Cardiff did cause you a few problems.
A few. Like 2 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were very comfortable in the first half. Unlucky not to be ahead from the Charleston effort in the first half. And then, there was some iffy decisions by the ref.
Yeah, he did have a great game. The throw-in that Warnock went crazy about. Harry Arter, I mean, he lost his mind about it.
I don't think it was obvious as they were saying from the replays that I've seen.
From the replay, which the referee couldn't have seen. It was very obvious. But I think the danger of replays is you don't actually show what the referee can see. You show all his angles, and that's fine. The referee only has one angle, and that's his line of sight, and that's presumed he can see. It was a nick off Gomez. It should have been a throw into Cardiff and not the other way around. But look, these decisions happen. I wouldn't want VAR on every single throw-in.
No, I don't think VAR needs to be used for things like that. It's not a match-changing point.
I thought the player I highlighted, who's not gone in my team of the week, who we'll get to later, but I thought he played very well, was Gomez. I think he's looking very key to your midfield now, and he's allowing Sigurdsson to wander around a bit and cause a bit more damage.
Yeah, there's a reason that Barcelona signed him. Although they haven't played him, we've got a very good loan signing there, and I think his work that he does in centre with Idrissa Gueye is just complementary. They work so well off of each other, and you say it gives Sigurdsson the freedom that he needs.
Absolutely. The Silver Revolution is well and truly underway, I think, with Everton. They are, sixth at the moment. Is this the season you think you can bang on the top 5? Is the 5th position there for the taking? Arsenal, they're playing well. They've got a big test coming up, potentially a little bit wobbly. Chelsea, I almost felt they flattered to deceive a little bit of their start. I don't think they're going to fall out of the top 4, but I think there's more defeats to come for Chelsea. I fear an implosion for Tottenham because once they have to start putting the pressure on, it all seems to go a little bit to pot for them. And I think if they get into the Europa League as well, which I don't think they want to, but they may well end up in the Europa League, for their squad, that's going to cause problems. And I think Liverpool and City are in a league of their own this season. So do you think you can bang on the 5th place?
Yes, you're right. There has been a silver revolution, as you say, but I don't think. I mean, Martinez had a great first season, got our records points tally. Koeman had a decent first season. I don't want that first season syndrome of where we overachieve to what we've been expected to. I'd be quite happy if we finished 7th and got in Europa League.
Final question on Everton for you. The Silver Revolution, will it bring silverware?
Not this season.
No?
No. I think we need to secure where we are. We seem to have got some sort of identity back, which we lost under Koeman and Allardyce. And he still needs to develop the squad.
He does, but surely that you're not going to get relegated.
No.
That's obvious. I mean, that wasn't so obvious last season, so you're an improvement from there. Why not go for the FA Cup? What's the worst can happen? You might drop a place in the league by focusing on the FA Cup. Why not? And this really frustrates me, and it's not just Everton. You get teams that aren't going to win the league. They're not going to win the league. They're not going to get relegated. Your Leicesters, your Bournemouths, your Watfords, your Evertons, arguably West Hams. They should all, and even Newcastle. Newcastle are in the relegation battle, yes. But why aren't they going for these cups? Benitez puts out really weak teams in the league and FA Cup, often for political reasons. But why are these teams who aren't going to win the Premier League not just giving it all they can? Look at Wigan. They win the FA Cup and go down. You talk to a Wigan fan, they take the relegation. They got a day out at Wembley. They got a trophy.
Money.
Yeah, but
quite simply, the prize money for the Premier League is far outweighing what you would get for going through all those matches in the FA Cup or League Cup, and your main priority is to finish as high as you can in the league, because that can set you up much better for the next season.
Won't somebody think of the fans?
It's not. It's too much of a business.
It is, but a day out at Wembley. And so you talk to the Wigan fans. A lot of them don't give a stuff they got relegated. They're happy they got a day out. They won the FA Cup. They beat City.
Yeah.
That's legendary of that club.
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand why more
I'd love
teams
it if
don't
we
go
went
for it.
on won a cup. I mean, it's been 23 years.
But it's what Wenger did so well, wasn't it? That he knew he wasn't going to do much in the league, focus on the FA Cup, trying to appease the fans.
Yeah, Arsenal have always been the FA Cup team.
Well, yeah, they have.
It's either that or they finish 4th. And if they can do both, wonderful.
But again, Tottenham, they're not winning trophies. Why are they not? I know that they've got to semis in recent years, but really push now. Baffles me. Final word on Cardiff. They didn't really show anything in this game, but I think we can expect that in the away game. So they're going to stay up on their home form if they're going to stay up. I thought it was key that they didn't get tanked here. They're not getting tanked by teams.
No, they didn't. I thought, yes, they're set up very well. They're a line of 4, a line of 5, and playing on the counter away from home is all they can really do. And yes, they've got to get lucky with decisions.
Yeah. But, they can keep their goal difference down while other teams are getting thrashed left, right, and centre, it's good for them. They may well stay up on goal difference and their home form. Two of the old guards scored for Brighton and Leicester in Murray and Vardy. Not the most exciting game. Perhaps the big talking point was the silly red card for Maddison.
Oh dear. His first tackle was that freebie that you get in the game. That yes, you get booked for.
Yeah,
because you're stopping the counter attack. You're stopping possibly a goal scoring opportunity. But the second one, don't know what goes through your mind to do it.
I will give him his credit that after he came out, apologised. Look, in the heat of the moment, we all do silly things. Without being any line of work, we all do silly things in the heat of the moment. And I'm happy that he came out and accepted his mistake. He said it as it was.
Yeah,
his act of cheating.
He's owned up to it, and I think that is good to see from a footballer. That he's honest. He knows. I can understand what he was doing. He's trying to get out of the way of the contact, but he felt there was contact coming, and he didn't want to injure himself. But there's a really fine line between diving and what is a penalty.
And good on the ref. I thought got this absolutely right.
Yeah.
And had the cojones to use the word again, as I don't want to use the B word, to show the second yellow card for diving. I'm happy that some refs are feeling they can do this. I wish all of them felt they could do this, because there is more diving in the Premier League, and I think that this sets a good example for why it has no place in the sport.
I actually think the Leicester played better once he was sent off.
They did. Brighton will continue to be hard to beat at home throughout the season.
I felt like Brighton eased off. Whether that's a mental aspect of, they're down to 10 men, we can take this easy now, we're going to win.
I think they're happy with the point.
Really? At home?
It's a point.
When you're 1-0 up, the other team's down to 10 men, you're happy to take a point.
Yeah, but if you're also thinking from the long term, Leicester will beat a lot of the teams around them. If they can take any points off them, it all gets very chess-like, doesn't it? And tactical.
Yes.
Look, Leicester will probably beat a lot of the teams around. You're looking at Fulham's, Cardiff's, Burnley's, Palace's. You think Leicester will probably get results against those sort of teams. Taking a point at home, yeah, you just take it. And the only game with no goals, perhaps surprisingly, Manchester United and Crystal Palace. Jose Mourinho said that they will be top four going into this. They're now closer to the bottom of the league than they are to the top.
Sorry, I fell asleep during that game. It was a bit boring, wasn't it?
It was poor. Palace was very good at the back. I thought Sacco had an excellent game. He's a bit of a strange player and has a bit of a strange career since leaving Liverpool.
Yeah, his performances can be a bit Jekyll and Hyde sometimes, can't they? You don't know which one's going to turn up.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought he did well. It's a good point for Palace, but no winning 8 now.
No, it's concerning, and I think their issue is certainly up front. They've shown that they can keep a clean sheet as long as the players play to their optimum.
They had chances in this game as well. Zaha and Townsend both had gilt-edged chances they should be taking. But my question on the goal scoring is, will Lukaku ever score again? 14 hours since he last scored at Old Trafford.
He put one in the net. It was offside though.
So I did a little bit of maths because I was a bit bored.
Go on.
And you can actually watch all of Gavin and Stacey and still have time to watch most of Wolf of Wall Street in the time since Lukaku last scored at home. It's quite incredible for a player that they paid around about 75 mil for.
Yeah, they nicely lined our pockets for that, didn't they? We put up a nice big poster, 25 goals a season.
Yeah.
And we've got a right deal there.
I do feel slightly sorry for Lukaku because I've got down here that, and not just this game, United just don't seem to want to attack in games. I don't understand
Not
why.
unless they're behind.
But why? You've got Palace at home.
It's passion. They're lacking the passion. Mourinho's not getting it into them.
Exactly. I think that's correct. They're lacking the mojo, the passion, and the belief in a way that Liverpool and City aren't with their managers. I only mentioned those two because they're United's biggest rivals.
Yep.
But there are others in the Premier League. Tottenham are another good example. I think managers are overtaking Mourinho's drab and aggressive style. I mean, do you see what he said going into the game about the younger players in the squads, that they lack appetite, they lack passion? I mean, how is that going to... Why? That's not
going to help, is it?
That doesn't get players fired up anymore. When he first started, that would get John Terry banging his chest, going around the change room, screaming in people's faces, saying, prove him wrong, Gov, come on, mate. But it's not how it works
Is that
anymore.
an impression, mate?
We'll say it wasn't.
Okay.
And the other thing in this game, which struck me, Fellaini lucky not to be sent off for me. I thought it was a nasty stamp on Miljevic.
It's a tight decision. I think, yes, he's gone to pass the ball. Does his leg need to follow through that high? And is he looking at Milivojevic when he makes that?
With Fellaini's history, I think he means it. He's done, let's be honest,
he has got a poor history.
Fellaini's history is littered with aggressive and nasty play. I don't like him as a footballer. I think he is very old school.
He's quite Marmite, I think.
Yeah.
I think players, if he's playing for your team, you quite like him on his good days.
Yeah.
But if he's making tackles like that consistently, then he's not going to be in anyone's good books.
No. Well, the board has gone up for the added time at the end of the first half. And we'll now move on to Player of the Week, Team of the Week, and our combined 11 of the week. So, would you like to go first with your Player of the Week?
It's difficult to look past a Man City player, but I think Sane.
I have also gone for Sane as my Player of the Week.
He's just, I don't know whether he's been fired up from him not going to the World Cup, Guardiola not using him at the start of the season, and he's coming in to say, look, I can do this.
Yep.
Or whether it's just the players around him that are helping him progress. I think he's only, 22, 23?
Yeah,
he's
young.
Still got a long way to go.
He has, absolutely. I think that his coolness personified, isn't it? He just seems to make time slow down when he has the ball in his feet. I think he had an excellent week. Sterling was close for me as well. He is, as much as that hurts to say, he really is starting to...
He's coming on well, isn't he?
He really is, getting that consistency now. Okay, so Team of the Week, not a combined 11, just the Team of the Week. Who are you going for on this one? Who impressed you the most?
Who impressed me the most? Spurs. Just because of how sharply they got into that match. 16 minutes in, they were already 2-0 up, and they seemed to wipe the floor with Chelsea.
It was a masterclass by Pochettino and his men. I thought they played really, really well. Caught Chelsea unawares, but we were just set up so well to deal with Chelsea. I agree with you. However, I'm going to go for, slightly controversially, Fulham.
Oh, okay.
A game I think they had to win.
Yes.
Their character was tested in this game. Southampton didn't make it as easy as perhaps you would have thought.
No.
First game under Ranieri. I know you get a new manager bounce, but he's not had that long with them on the training pitch. And I thought that, as I say, they've got problems at the back still, but there's signs of life from Fulham. And I was really impressed with the way they went forward. They really did make me smile with some of their moves going forward. You expect that of a City, of course you do. They've got the players for it. When you're seeing it at a slightly, no disrespect, lower level with slightly lower quality players, and I thought their passion, their desire, the way, look, we discussed who shouldn't lose the ball there, but Fulham want it so much.
Yeah, they pounced on the chance.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought that, the character was tested, and I thought they really came through this test. So I'm going to go for Fulham on this one.
Team of the Week, as in the 11 players, best players that you pick in each position from the week. I started with Hennessy in goal. I thought he had a really solid game against United, and he's shown why he's Palace's number one, Wales number one. I think he was really solid. I've gone for 3 at the back.
Okay.
Obviously, Trent Alexander-Arnold,
Yep.
purely just for that free kick. Obviously, brilliant defensive effort, clean sheet as well. Kongolo for Huddersfield. Huddersfield keeping a clean sheet. You've got to give one of them praise. And Alderweireld for Tottenham.
Played well, lucky enough to score.
Yeah, he missed a really good chance and should have scored, as you said. I've gone for 5 across the midfield, although it could be 6, but it depends if you count Son as a midfielder.
Okay, right. Well, I am for my team, so...
Okay, so Armstrong from Southampton, 2 goals for Southampton, although on the losing side he was their brightest player by far. Gomez, as you said, best game for Everton this season, I think. Aaron Moy for stepping up for Huddersfield. He contributed last season with some good assists, good goals, but he really looked like he stepped up in this game. And then Sterling, Sane, we've already said. And then Son, I thought he had a really good game for Tottenham. His best game. It's his 50th goal now for Tottenham.
Yeah, underrated.
Very underrated. And he could have had a hat-trick.
Yep, he could have done. He was cross himself after the game as well, wasn't he? He didn't put more.
Yes. Which is good to see. You always want to see a player trying to improve. And finally, Mitrovic.
Ooh,
2 goals for Fulham, 2 well-taken goals, and I think he could be the catalyst. If he goes on and scores 20 this season, it could keep Fulham up.
Absolutely. Okay, so for me, Hennessy in goal, as you said, no disagreeing what you put there. I've gone for the classic 4-4-2. Call me old-fashioned, but it works for Gareth Southgate, so it works for me. Trent at the back, nothing more to say on that, is there? Sacco, I thought he had a very good game of penalties, as I said. When he's in that kind of mood, he is almost a colossus that's unbeatable. So, excellent game for him. Alderweireld, strong, and should have scored. Sessegnon as well at the back. I know he conceded 2 goals, but a very, very good attacking outlet. And as I mentioned earlier, defending is only really probably 35% of a fullback's job now. Yes. Rightly or wrongly, but he does the rest of it, the attacking so well. So he's going there. Midfield 4, Sane. That's discussed. Armstrong, Moy and Son, who I did completely agree with what you said in your take there. Salah, who is still scoring goals. I'm going to be a little bit biased with Salah, I know, but he's had a lot of pressure on him and he's answering a lot of the critics at the moment. I think he is starting to get on that goal scoring now, and I thought he played very well just throughout the game. And finally, I've gone Mitrovic as well. I'm also going to go Glenn Murray. Just because I think at his age he's still doing it week in, week out. The Premier League is impressive.
Yeah, I think he deserves a mention because he is now actually the top goal scoring Englishman at the moment. Yeah, so 7.
Fair play to him, but Mitrovic, 2 well taken goals, 2 key goals, as you say, could be the catalyst for them to push on. Well, the referee's whistle has sounded. That is half time, Sam. So we're going to discuss for the half-time entertainment, fantasy football, and we'll have, of course, your stat of the week.
Stat of the week with Statman Sam.
Yeah, my stat of the week this week is Arsenal have not been winning at half-time this season, but have gone on to win 8 of their 13 matches.
Very impressive. There'll be more stat of the week next week. Fantasy football then, how many points did you get this week?
It wasn't particularly good this week.
Mine was 34.
I think I may just have beaten that, yes, 38.
For me, it all went wrong with Chelsea's back 4. It went wrong with having Patricio in goal. I didn't see them losing to Huddersfield.
And Martial was your captain. How did that come off?
Well, you've got Palace at home.
I know. He scored in his last 5 games.
Yeah, I just thought that they were going to win this one. Call me strange, but I thought Man United at Old Trafford might be able to beat Crystal Palace. Fraser didn't do anything for me. Wilson didn't do anything for me. I have got Arnautovic to come on. So obviously there's a game going on tonight, as Lacazette didn't play. But not a good week for me. Yourself?
Standout performer was Mane. Got the 2 assists. But apart from that, it wasn't a very high-scoring week, and I haven't done very well.
No, my highest-scoring player was Mane, and David Silva tied on 9.
Yes.
We didn't mention David Silva, actually, in the review there. Well, we did actually say he's the best Spanishman in the Premier League history, and I just love watching him play. I think he is a
He makes it look
footballer.
easy.
He really he glides, doesn't he? He's such a good footballer, and one that City will need to replace in the coming years. But boy, what a servant he's been to the Premier League. Well, the players are back onto the pitch and we begin the second half, the preview part of the show. Only one place to start really, North London, the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal and Spurs on the Sunday. How do you see this one panning out? We're also going to do predicted scores, we're going to have a table going and see at the end of the season which one of us got the most points. So, Sam, how do you see the Arsenal and Tottenham game panning out?
First derby of the weekend. Second derby of the weekend, I do apologise. I think it's going to be an interesting one. Spurs away from home haven't actually lost yet.
No, and Arsenal on a good run. This is their toughest game by far, and that's no disrespect to the teams they've played, but this is the toughest test by far. But of course, Tottenham could possibly be out of the Champions League by the time this game rolls around.
Yes, they could, but if they play anything like they did against Chelsea, then they're going to absolutely thrash Inter Milan, I think.
Yeah, but Tottenham in the Champions League are a completely different proposition to Tottenham in the Premier League.
Yes.
Although, to be fair, if they get knocked out of the Champions League, I can just see them wanting to come back and, shut Arsenal fans up immediately with a win. So, I think it's going to be a very tight and cagey affair, this one. I can see goals.
Yes.
Kane loves a goal in a North London derby.
I think both teams are going to score.
Yeah.
I would go just Tottenham, but I think it could be another one of those thrilling North London derbies. I'm going for 3-2.
3-2, okay.
Yep.
So you're going for, I'll just put S and R columns into the fantastic table made out of paper and pen. You're going for Spurs and Arsenal, 3-2-2.
Tottenham.
To Tottenham, fantastic. I'm going for a slightly more conservative 1-1. I just don't see the side winning this. I can see this being a cagey game rather than an attacking game. Liverpool-Everton, the other sort of key derby of the weekend at Anfield.
We never do well at Anfield. About the only joy I've had watching us play at Anfield is when Jagielka absolutely pelted that into the top corner. Yes. Apart from that, I don't particularly remember those games.
I mean, they should have saved it. Of course, in the FA Cup last year, Van Dijk on his debut scored the winner. That did send me out of my seat completely.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Look, Everton frustrated Liverpool last season. Lovren lost his mind in the first game with that senseless penalty he gave away. And with the Merseyside Derby, form, it's a cliche, but form means absolutely nothing in this event, does it?
It doesn't, not particularly, but I still think Liverpool are going to have far too much for us.
I mean, on paper Liverpool have the strongest squad, but as I said earlier, the Silver Revolution's begun, you're playing very well, and of course, if anyone's going to love to end the unbeaten streak, it's going to be United, isn't it?
Love it so much.
But I think I agree, I think Liverpool will have too much. I think the Anfield factor will come into play, I think they'll be rocking. I'm going to go for 3-1 to Liverpool, I'm afraid.
I'm not sure we're even going to score. I think 3-0 Liverpool, and I think Mane's going to get 2.
Okay.
Because he's just going to beat us with pace at the back.
We'll do 1 point for correct result, 3 for correct score.
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so I also fancy Van Dijk to score in this game, just because he's due a goal, and I think he would absolutely love another goal against Everton. Sunday really is the place to be for football, isn't it, this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
And we'll kick off that weekend with Chelsea and Fulham at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea need to be bouncing back, and this is quite a good fixture for them, I think.
Certainly a bounce back for Chelsea. I think at home at the Bridge, nice and comfortable. As long as Hazard's fit, there's a possible question over whether he got an injury this weekend. But I can see either way, if he's not there, I can see them running out winners.
Yeah, I think
Fulham, if they're lucky, they might score.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham have done well to win against Southampton, but they are defensively still poor. And whilst I think Ranieri will fix this in time, I think this game comes too soon for them, too soon for the back four. And I can't see anything other than a Chelsea win. I'm going 3-0 to Chelsea.
Yeah, I think I might have to join you on that. With Fulham, they've only scored 2 goals away from home.
Yeah.
And Chelsea have only conceded 5 at home, so 3-0.
Yeah, and Chelsea needs to get back onto the wagon here and keep pace with the top 3, really. Okay, so we then move on to we've got some relegation 6-pointers really this week, haven't we? And we start the weekend's action at Cardiff, who are hosting Wolves on the Friday night. A must-win for both teams really after the weekend's results.
Yeah, it really is. I think Cardiff, of course, being a home game, they need to look at this and need to take the initiative. Wolves, on a fairly poor run of form, they need to fight back, but they might not.
Yeah, I mean, Cardiff need to make good their home form. They're going to try and stay in the division. Warnock said that from the start, that they're going to stay up on their home record if like Huddersfield did last year. I think Cardiff are in a good patch on the whole, and I actually see them winning this game. They're a different team at home, and yeah, I see them winning this one. And I'm going to go for 2-1 to Cardiff. Wolves, yeah, not convincing me at the moment, I'm afraid.
I'm going to go for a Wolves 1-0 win.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves haven't scored many away, but they've only lost 1 away.
See if that becomes 2 this weekend. Huddersfield, Brighton, again, another 6-pointer down the bottom. Huddersfield at home, their home form kept them up last season, of course. Will it be enough to keep up this season? It's a chance to build on the positive results that they've had in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think Huddersfield, they've struggled at home this season. I mean, they've only scored 2 goals, and one of those was an own goal.
Yeah.
And I think I can see Brighton edging this.
Can you? Because I think Brighton away from home are just not good enough.
Well, I don't know. It's a tough one to call. It could quite easily be a 0-0 draw.
Yeah, that's also fair.
It could be last on the review for next week.
Yes, that's not a bad prediction from the start. A loss for Brighton pulls them right into the battle as well for me.
Oh, certainly. I think if Huddersfield win this, then they're looking really comfortable. But yeah, I'm going to go 0-0.
You're going 0-0. I'm going 1-0 to Huddersfield in this one. I just see them winning. I'm just edging this one out. Southampton and United. Southampton need to start winning and need to start winning quick. Normally this wouldn't be the kind of game you'd look at to be the one to try and win and get that momentum built. However, no, I'm joking. United should surely win this one.
I'm just looking at Southampton's home form, and they haven't won at home this season. They've had 3 draws and 2 losses.
Yeah.
They've only scored 4.
Yeah.
And Man United's away form is okay.
Yeah, and Southampton leak goals. And
Yes.
I know that United aren't necessarily blowing teams away this season, but I think they can beat them in second gear. And I think
I mean, they've got a game against Young Boys in the week, which
Yeah.
will give them confidence as well.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. And surely this is only going one way. And I think Hughes will be next to get the managerial sack as well.
Yes.
And it could well be out. It might even be before this game. I wouldn't rule out going into this fixture with Hughes not in charge.
I think United will win this comfortably, but not at a canter. 2-0.
Yeah, that's what I've gone for. Yeah, as you say, I think they don't need to blow them away. They'll do just about enough, I think. I can see them actually scoring a little bit late on, perhaps after the 60-minute mark. Because they start slowly in games. But yeah, I do think Southampton just aren't good enough to hold them back for 90 minutes. But then I didn't think Palace were, so we'll see on that one.
Yep.
Newcastle, West Ham. Newcastle currently 2-0 up on Burnley in tonight's fixture. They're starting to get a bit of form together now. They're starting to climb the table. Rafa's starting to get them to play some good football. He's always been tactically very, very good.
They've got through their difficult matches, haven't they? They've
have.
played a number of the big teams, and although they haven't come out pretty, they haven't come out disgraced.
And they're not in the bottom 3. That's the
No.
remarkable thing, isn't it? They've played these teams, as you said, they've had a very difficult start to the season. And with the current score the way it is, they're currently sat in 13th, which is quite phenomenal, really.
It's reasonable. It's where you'd probably expect them to finish.
Yeah, around about there. I think that's fair. I say Rafa's tactics are starting to show now. He's starting to get the team to score a couple more goals. West Ham can beat pretty much anybody on their day. It's just a question as to whether it is their day.
Yes. West Ham away. I don't think they like travelling very well.
No, but they don't like playing at home half the time either.
Well, that is true. It depends whether their fans want to be with them or against them.
I think it also depends a lot on what Arnautovic is doing. Is he going to be fit enough to play this game or not? I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I can't see it being a particularly exciting game. I think if anyone's going to win, it'll be Newcastle. But I do see it just being a bit of a ball draw, to be honest with you.
I think Newcastle's home form is going to show through, and they'll go on to win 1-0.
1-0 for you. Okay. Palace and Burnley, the battle of the relegation. For me, the last place of the relegation. Who comes out on top? Burnley really are struggling, aren't they?
They're going to be really struggling if they go on to lose this match tonight. Obviously, as you said, 2-0 down. They've conceded the most in the league now after tonight.
Really, one for them.
Yeah, 27.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, no, just before Fulham.
Okay, well, it's still pretty poor. I mean, you consider the other teams that are around them. I think Sean Dyche should be under more pressure than he is. Yeah, we're all saying Hughes is in trouble, and yeah, Wagner's probably quite safe, but obviously, yeah, there's Hodgson's potentially in trouble as well.
I think he's still got that security from getting Burnley into the Europa League. I think the board are still thinking maybe we didn't invest enough. Maybe we were pushing this squad too far at the start of the season when they had to start in like early August or something.
I accept this to a point, but with 13 games in there,
Yes.
they need to address this problem and sharpish. And I think this is the battle of the teams that can't score, isn't it? That neither of these sides have a Premier League quality striker.
Nope.
Neither of these sides have a Premier League quality playmaker. That's probably a bit harsh on Zaha, but I think he's a little bit overhyped actually. I don't think he's been performing of late. And they're just not strong enough or attacking enough for me, either side.
I'd like to see this game go as the Fulham-Southampton one has this week. I'd like to see an open game, but I don't think we're going to get that with Burnley.
No. And I think that whoever loses this are in deep trouble.
Yes.
And actually, it's a good chance of both of these teams who are hovering above the relegation zone, currently sat in 17th and 16th on tonight's scores, to get up on the rest of them. You know, they can get themselves just that little bit further away, build that barrier between them and the rest of the teams in and around that area. And I say, Palace, I think they'll edge this. I think they are slightly better.
I think Palace will slightly edge this.
I've gone 1-0 Palace.
I'm going to go 2-1 and Zaha to score.
Okay. 2 more to go then. Leicester and Watford. Both sides not in particularly great form, but a good chance for them to bounce back this weekend and just, start to get back to winning ways a little bit.
Yeah, mid-table clash. They've had average form. They've both scored and conceded about the same amount of goals.
Just lost their way in recent games. I mean, obviously Leicester have perhaps a more solid reason for losing their way. I don't want to make light of that situation. But both sides need to get back to winning ways. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think this could be a tight affair. Although sometimes you see Watford turn up and they'll put 3 past the team quite easily. I'm not sure on this one. I think 1-1.
I think it go either way. I've gone 2-2 on this one. I think both sides will score. So you're going 1-0 on that one, yeah?
Yep.
Fantastic. We've left City till last just because I think it's going to be a regulation win for City. I mean, I think Bournemouth will score. I think they'll cause some problems to a degree, but they're also away from home, and City are just rampant at the moment, aren't they? They're not getting beat. It's as simple as that. I don't see Bournemouth going to the Etihad and winning. I just can't see it.
No, Bournemouth's away form is very much Jekyll and Hyde. 1-3, lost 3, but I think City are going to overpower nearly every team this season.
Yeah, it goes back to my point earlier. I think Bournemouth will score, but in the games that City concede, they'll just outscore. I'm going to go for 4-2 to Manchester City.
I'm going 3-0 Man City.
You don't see Bournemouth scoring. Sorry.
No, I think they're going to struggle away from home. I think Eddie Howe might set up to play on the counter, but I think City will deal with it with Fernandinho.
Right, well that concludes the predictions. They're now locked in. They will not be changed. We'll see how we get on in next week's pod. That is the end of the second half. We're into the added time period now. Referee's whistle has blown and the board is up. AOB, Sam. Okay, so my OB of the week is, and I don't know if it's just a Twitter, Instagram rumour, but I have seen suggestions that Gareth Southgate is in line for a knighthood. Sam, is this a bit too much too soon, or do you think it's deserved? I've got my view, but I'd be interested to hear yours first.
Yes, he's done well at the World Cup. Yes, we're in the semi-finals of the Nations League thing, which I don't quite understand yet.
No one does.
But has he even got an OB or a CB or an MB yet?
I've got absolutely no idea. Probably. This is the England player of the 90s.
I think it's a step too far.
See, I disagree, because, and I'll tell you for why. I've grown up with an England team that has constantly underachieved, that has constantly been in the media light and portrayed badly. A team of egotistical maniacs, you could say, who have never been able to leave their club colours at the door, who have never been able to accept that they're there for a common cause, never allowed club rivalries to get in the way. You read players' books on the time, and you know, Liverpool players are sitting in one corner, the Chelsea in the other, the Arsenal in the other, the Chelsea in the other, the rest sort of in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
I think Southgate has managed to make the players see the bigger picture, park the egos at the door, They all want to play for each other.
He has. I agree with you. He has created a club atmosphere.
He has, but this is the first England team that I've actually A, enjoyed watching, B, found a common cause with, and C, felt like there's something brewing. You know, in the past it's always been, we should do well but we won't because it's the way England are. This is probably the weakest team we've had on paper. You consider the teams we've grown up with. We were lucky enough to come through the Rooney era of Gerrard, Scholes, Lampard, Beck, Cole. All these Ferdinand, Terry, Owen. Listing up these amazing names of players and we should have won a tournament at that time. There's no doubt about it. We should have won a tournament in that time, and we never got close.
No.
We were absolutely embarrassed in the Euros by Iceland. We were embarrassed in the World Cup before that with the Rooney down the camera.
Yep.
We can make as much as we want about the Lampard goal and the one before that, but Germany still outplayed us. There's no question about that.
Yep.
And what I like about the England team now is that we don't get outplayed by big teams. We stand up to anyone, which I think has been shown in the Nations League. We've beaten Spain and Croatia. Very difficult group. And I think we've stood up to these tests. The players all want to play for each other and they've got a way of playing. They all know their jobs and they all believe something. But Southgate has restored love for the England team. And in a time where England, I don't want to get too political, but in a time where England is so divided and divisive at the moment, he has found a way through football to bring the nation together. And maybe that is perhaps not quite enough for a knighthood, but there's lots of people with knighthoods that probably don't deserve them. And I think that Gareth Southgate makes a strong claim for him, to be honest.
I do agree with many of your points and what he's done to galvanise the team and how far he's brought them compared to other teams from the past. But I also have this issue over what even OBEs, CBEs and MBEs are given for, let alone knighthoods. I don't think he's achieved enough.
But what realistically could you expect him to achieve? I mean, he's got England to a semi-final of the World Cup for the first time since I can't remember. Yeah, but we're not good enough to win it, are we? That's the thing that he took
can be.
But he's taken a very average team to a World Cup semi-final, really.
Leicester were a very average team when they went and won the league.
Yeah, but that's different to knockout football, isn't it?
Yes, you have to sustain it over a longer period of time.
But equally,
it's even more difficult.
Yes and no, because one bad game doesn't mean you've lost the league.
No.
One bad game doesn't mean you're out the tournament.
I don't think he's done enough.
That's fine. We're allowed to disagree. We disagree on so many things that this doesn't come as a complete shock that you don't agree with this one. I just think that in the modern age, knighthoods are not handed out willy-nilly, but they do seem easy to get.
Yes.
And I do think that Southgate has done a lot for grassroots football in this country. He's done a lot for trying to bring the country together, and he's done a lot for sport. And I think that he is also that kind of British character summed up, isn't he? That the British bulldog fighting spirit. That he went from the bottom and the lowest of the lows you can get as an England player. He cost us a tournament, essentially. Missed the penalty that sent us home. Whatever way you look at it, it's harsh to put it like that.
Yeah.
But the facts are the facts. He missed the penalty that put us out in the tournament. Yeah?
Yeah.
And now he's come back from that and taken a team to a World Cup semi-final, got the nation behind them. I do think the DVD that's coming out called Heroes is a bit too much.
But
hey,
at least Marks and Spencers are on the bandwagon for waistcoats.
Yeah, but also I don't mind getting a bit carried away because this is, for once, we've done something in international football, and I'm not embarrassed to be an England supporter. But I get your points that he's probably not done enough, and he's always been rewarded for failure. Let's not forget the Welsh had an open top bus parade for finishing fourth at the Euros, so
But that's the Welsh. They expect nothing.
Well, yeah, but England expect nothing either, don't they?
No, we're a team that have won the World Cup before. We know we can do it.
Yeah, in the 60s. Going into the World Cup, did you honestly think England were going to get to the semi-finals?
No.
No, exactly. So we achieved...
But why are we celebrating failure still?
Because that is a British...
Because we haven't won it, so why do we need to celebrate it?
Because that's what we do.
Yes, it is a very British pastime.
It is. Anyway, we're not going to agree on this. Let's not flog the dead donkey any further. What's your AOB of the week?
I know we're probably going to talk about it several times throughout the season, but I think looking at VAR and how it worked in the World Cup, and the fact that it's now going to be introduced next season, there are things that they definitely need to clear up. Yep. They need to clear up the timings. They need to clear up what the fans in the stadium see. It's all very well when you're watching at home and you get to see those replays that the referees are all watching. But in the stadium, you're left like, what's going on? What's happening? And I think they need to be clearer with what's going on. I mean, in rugby, they're mic'd up. They're mic'd up in the football as well. But even if they had an announcement to say, can you take a look at this?
Yeah.
Or we're taking a look at this. When he runs over to the side, almost when he runs over to the side now, you know something's going to get changed. The fact that he's having to go across and look at it.
Yeah.
And I think it will be a very good introduction next season, as long as all the little bumps along the way have been smoothed out.
Yeah, I think there needs to be clear guidelines set to when it will, when it won't be used. Because we don't want every throw-in being analysed or anything like that, because it's pointless. You completely then saturate the sport and you make it into a robotic sport essentially. So I think they need to set the clear guidelines to when it will be and when it won't be used, so all the players know where they stand. I still advocate a tennis/cricket challenge appeal, 2 appeals per half per team. I think that's plenty. I don't think there's 4 contentious decisions for each side of the match, so 8 overall. I don't think there's 8 in a match.
No,
if the race the referee's just not good enough.
Exactly. I think if you get to that stage where people are having to use up all of their challenges, then either the referee needs to be looked at, or there needs to be a tactical element to it. I think it could bring that into the game of when you use them, and could they then be used for wasting time?
Well, no, because the referee would stop his clock, won't he? I would have thought.
Well, they're looking into that, aren't they, as well? To have the ball in play for a certain amount of time throughout the game, whereas some games these days the ball's only in actual play for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, that is true. I think that have to be looked at, because you're right, you can't start using VAR if you've got 2 appeals left at the end of the game, you're winning 1-0, to appeal something ridiculous and try.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that point. But I do advocate an appeal system where the manager or the captain can lodge the appeal. Maybe they have a button they can press or something like that, I don't know. Because I don't want every decision VAR'd.
No.
I suppose the point I'm trying to make here is that the referee's still got to be the decision maker and the law enforcer, but he does need help. The game's played at such a pace now that a helping hand is needed.
Yeah, and the margins are so fine. We've
Yes.
seen this weekend with the offsides and the goal line clearances. Obviously, we've had the watches brought in now, and I think at the end of the season, yes, they say it levels out, but I think it'll still level out with VAR as well.
Yeah,
I think you'll get the rub of the green both ways.
Well, that concludes this week's pod. The final whistle has blown. Goal news for you, half-time news for you. The Burnley-Newcastle game, which obviously we're not covering tonight as it is being played as we record. Half-time, it's Burnley 1, Newcastle 2. Sam votes for Burnley, and for Newcastle an own goal by Ben Mee and a goal by Kieran Clark. So, that concludes this week's pod. Thank you ever so much for listening, and we'll be with you again next week. Thank you for listening to A Game of Two Halves. Please subscribe and leave a review.
You can also find us on our social media, on Instagram at A Game of Two Halves Pod, and on Twitter at @A_game of. You can also email us at agameoftwohalvespod@gmail.com.